Okay, everybody. Hi, and welcome to our webinar today. The webinar is an introduction to FCS Express for Partec users, and we're very pleased to be doing it in conjunction with our friends from Partec today. So we'll start with an introduction from Dr. Danny Kohler at Partec in Germany. Right now, he'll give a little introduction to to the Partec software and to the Partec in general, showing how to do many things. And then the last part of the webinar, we will show a little bit about how to use FCS Express to give you guys a bit of a head start. So let me turn the control over here to Danny. Okay, Danny, you should be able to show your screen now.
Which hopefully works.
Okay, I see it. Yeah, I see your Mozilla screen, your Mozilla.
Okay. Can you also see my side view screen now?
Yep. Yes, we can. Everything's working fine.
So everything works fine. Okay. Thanks again, David, for organizing this webinar for all Partec users. Just a bit of background. Partec, as a producer of flow cytometers, has launched the SciFlow Cube 8 instrument just last year in 2011, which was followed by the Partec SciFlow Cube 6 instrument beginning of this year, 2012. With all our instruments, there comes, which is included in the whole package of purchase, one license of FCS Express Flow Cytometry analysis software, which is produced by the Novo company, represented by David de Novo himself, who is speaking today. And this is the first time that we are organizing such a webinar for our Cube instrument users, because we think it's extremely useful for those of you working with FCS Express to get an introduction to the software, which is extremely powerful, but also a bit demanding in terms of getting used to the software and to be able to work with it and really make most out of its high potential. We had those meetings for our Partec internal people quite a few times, and I joined all of those webinar sessions, and it's extremely useful. This is my own experience, and for that reason we decided to make those webinars for all our Partec users. This is the first time, so this is like a bit of a trial also for us to see what you as users think about that webinar, and I would rather appreciate to receive some feedback as well as David himself most likely about what you like on this webinar and some suggestions of what might be done different in the future. And I'm sure we will have other webinars in the future to which all of you who are users of Partec SciFlow Cube instruments will be invited on regular terms. So I do not want to take away too much time of David's presentation dealing with FCS Express, because this should be the main topic of today's webinar. What I would like to show is the interface between the SciFlow Cube 6 and SciFlow Cube 8 acquisition software called SciView, and the data transfer into the FCS Express software from the Novo. Just as a background, on each instrument, each Cube instrument which is delivered to the customer, the FCS Express software is already pre-installed when the instrument is sent to our customers. This is done because we have to create certain links that connect the SciView software from the Cube to FCS Express. Of course, we are aware of the fact that this does not cover any frequently occurring software updates of FCS Express. This means when we deliver a Cube instrument to the customer, there is an actual software installed, but in the meantime, FCS Express, which means the Novo company, might have released a software update. This means a more advanced software version might be available. As far as I know, David, maybe you can correct me, whenever an instrument with FCS Express installed is connected to the internet, then there is a message appearing that a more recent update is available, and you might be invited or asked to accept the update of the software. Is this correct?
Yeah, that is correct, and in fact it's very timely that you mentioned this, since we're going to be releasing a new update today, actually. So within the next few days, this is going to go into our automated update system, and it will just, with your permission, download and install automatically, provided that the computer is on the internet. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So whenever you are asked if you want to accept this update, I think you should accept it in order to benefit from the most recent advances of FCS Express software. One other feature which is frequently asked: for each instrument, Cube 6 or Cube 8, one license of FCS Express is included in the whole package. This is currently solved in a way that we provide one license by means of a registration code which comes with each instrument. The fact that FCS Express is already pre-installed on the Cube instrument itself does not mean that FCS Express has to be operated on the Cube's computer. This is only one option. It might be more useful for you as a Cube instrument user to install FCS Express on any other computer of your choice in order to separate the data analysis computer from the Cube instrument, which would otherwise be blocked when somebody is doing data analysis. So this license can be used to install and register the software on any computer, but it can only be installed on one computer. So this is something which you have to decide before you register the software. So the computer on which the software is supposed to be operated has to be specified during the registration process. Anything else you want to add, David, at this stage concerning registration from your side?
No, I'll go over on the website the claim code process when you're completed.
Okay, thanks.
And hang on,
so,
Danny, 1 second.
Yes?
Someone did ask, can the Cube be updated if the Cube is not on the, can the FCS Express be updated if the Cube is not on the internet? Yes, you can. You can simply download the software from our website, put it on a flash drive, bring it over to the Cube instrument, and you can install the update from the flash drive. So it's very, very straightforward, and if you have any problems with that, you can contact us at support. Go ahead, Danny.
Thanks, David. Yeah, thanks. I'm going to continue. Now I'm coming more towards the practical work. As everybody should be able to see, is that I have the SideView software open in the so-called offline version. Offline means that there is no electronic connected to the software, which means the software itself can be started, but it doesn't correspond, of course, to the Cube instrument because it's not there, which means that at the right side, sorry, I have to move the screen. At the right side, where you have those in a normal Cube instrument where the electronics is connected, you have 7 of those tabs here located where my cursor is just moving. You have 5 tabs only, reflecting the fact that there is no electronics connected and some features are not accessible by the offline version, but besides that the functionality is unchanged. I have one file opened which is a measurement of 8 peak beats that were done on the CyFlow-Cube 8 instrument. And in order to be able to transfer those information into FCS Express, one requirement is necessary to do that. The file itself needs to be saved as an FCS file. So it's not enough just to make an analysis, have your data of the analysis temporarily available, which means you can see them, but you have not yet saved an FCS file. In this case, it would not work. So you have to save your acquisition, your measurement as FCS file, either using this icon here, which means, okay, store FCS file. You can give it any name. You save it. No, I'm not going to give it a different name. Or by using the menu here. Okay, store FCS file, and then you follow the same path. Okay, once you did that, you go in the navigation list here towards Tools, and within Tools there is a link or a function called FCS Express, which means you have a link to FCS Express here, and when you click that link, then FCS Express should be launched, and as you can see, it was recognized that the FCS Express version which I'm currently using is not updated, so I'm ignoring the update for now. I just want to proceed forward, and then in case FCS Express is registered, it should be launched. As you can see here, it's automatically opening, and there is a certain layout file already specified which should open up, which looks like that, and there is just a very short introduction of what is supposed to be done. In order to load actually your data, you click this plot here, you select data in the upper command line, and then select, and you have to navigate now once to the folder where your FCS files are located. Unless you change that, the normal storage location of our data would be Cube 13. This is the software version. It could be Cube 12 or Cube 10, depending on which Cube software version you are using. Currently we are using Cube 13. Cube 15 is not yet released, so this is not something which is existing. Cube 13, we have a subfolder data, and within here you should normally find your data. And when I select one of those FCS files, I go to open, I now have access to all those FCS files which are in the same folder, not only the one which I selected, but all the FCS files which are in the same folder. And this is reflected by the fact if I select data list within FCS Express, you have all 4 files which are inside the same folder. And if you have predefined dot plots, like in this case, we have a histogram indicating FL1. If this one is highlighted and you go to the previous or next button, you can navigate through all the FCS files which are lying in the same folder. You can add histograms or dot plots, of course, to this pre-existing layout file, but these are details which David is going to show or explain to you during the next 3/4 of an hour for the rest of the webinar. Okay, from my point of view, I would like to hand over to David because he's much better in explaining all those wonderful features of FCS Express, and unless something is asked for me, I would like to hand over to David at that point now.
Okay, Danny, thank you very much. Let me just switch the presentation back to me. Just as a quick question while this is switching over, when they go to Tools FCS Express, does it not automatically load the file that they just exported, or do they always have to go pick the file from the disk?
There is also a possibility to have a direct transfer, but in my experience, this is the better way, because then you have all the files directly in the file list,
yes,
in the
okay.
data list, and then you can easily then switch between all the files which you have in the same folder. That's, in my experience, was the more appropriate way to work, or to get the transfer.
The most efficient way. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so what I'm going to do today, first thing I just want to show and have documented the process when you just get a new cube, what you have to do to claim the purchase for yourself. And when you purchase a new cube, in the packet that you got the new SciFlow cube, you will have instructions on how to claim your purchase. So the software is when distributed, it's initially registered to Partec, and the claiming process is to register the software to you under your own account. If you lost the claim code instructions, you can always go to our knowledge base, which is accessible from our main website, and you can see right on the first page of the knowledge base is how can I claim my license purchase through Partec. So the instructions are there. And if you go to this page, basically there's two main steps that you have to do. The first main step is to create an account for yourself by going to our My Account site. So if you already have an account with us, then you would simply log in as shown over here. If you have an account, you would simply log in. If you don't have an account with us, you would simply create an account. And then once the account was set up, what you need to do is go to over here, use a claim code. And on the instructions that you got from Partec, everybody has their own personalized claim code. The claim code has some sort of pattern that looks like this. You type it in over here and press the button, and then you'll be able to, your purchase will be claimed, and the products will show up under your account that you had in Novo software. Okay, once it's there, you can then get updates, you can get downloads, you can contact us, and we'll know what products you're talking about. So it's really very important to claim your purchase. And then once you claim your purchase, you can then go through and start using the software that's on the cube, as well as or install onto another computer, as Danny said. Okay, so if anybody has any questions about that, please don't hesitate to get in touch. As an aside, we're going to be a little slower today answering questions than we normally are, because Sean, who was supposed to be with us on this webinar, is currently enjoying Hurricane Sandy in New Jersey, and so is not able to attend today. So I'll have to type it. So I'll try and either answer the questions verbally or type it in. So FCS Express itself. FCS Express, the idea behind FCS Express is that it is a data reporting and data analysis software at the same time. So the idea is to give you all of your data analysis capabilities that you need, all the quads, all the gates, all the plots, everything, and also give you all of the reporting capabilities that you need, because in today's society or today's science, you can't just simply go out and get plots and do things. You actually were presenting that data and gathering that data and reporting that data is also very important. So I'll show a little bit about how that works. In the high level, because we tried to do a data analysis and reporting software at the same time, we basically shamelessly and blatantly copy Microsoft PowerPoint. Okay, so you can see in front of us, this is FCS Express, but it looks a lot like PowerPoint, and you'll find that all of the shortcuts, all of the keys, everything, we try to copy the look and feel and style of PowerPoint, except that instead of course, in PowerPoint, you basically only put in text and pictures. In FCS Express, you also put in your plots and your gates and your statistics. But you do everything in a very similar manner. Unfortunately, again, because of this hurricane, and I kind of got called in at the last minute, Sean had all the Partec data that we were going to use to demonstrate. I don't have any of that here, so I'm just going to have to demonstrate with just some random data that I have. But everything that I show today is applicable to data from the cube as well. So if you want to insert things on a page, you can see that when the software opens, it defaults to over here a big page. Unlike PowerPoint, our pages defaults to 8.5 by 11 page because that is the most common thing that Flow people do is they print out their work. However, just like PowerPoint, if you go to the application button at the top left and go to print and go to page setup, you can change the page to anything that you want. Okay, so it's not it's very easy to change to an A4 page or to change to a slide orientation or anything that you like. Okay, and again, just to highlight that, if you do want to do things in the software, you can do it in PowerPoint. Try to do it look in FCS Express in the same spot that you would look in PowerPoint, and odds are you'll find it. Okay, so in PowerPoint, if you want to insert things on the page, you go to the Insert menu that's located here, and PowerPoint gives you the option of inserting shapes, of inserting pictures, of inserting text boxes, and of course you can do all of that in FCS Express as well. Danny, I'm just going to mute you just because there's some background noise. Okay. So you can do that with in FCS Express. You go to the Insert tab as well, but of course in FCS Express you also have the option of inserting all of your different kinds of plots that you need for flow cytometry. Okay, so you would insert a dot plot, for example. You just put it on the page in the size that you want. You select a data file. So I'll just take, again, some sample data that I have here. Okay, and then once they're on the screen, you can do many things with them. So once you put multiple, you can put as many things on the page as you like. And I do want to stress that in this example, in this webinar today, I'll probably be doing things with only one data file at a time, maybe two. But in FCS Express, you can have as many data files open within a single analysis as you like. You can have as many pages on your layout as you like. So you notice here at the bottom of the page, at the bottom left, there's this little plus arrow. You can add pages simply by clicking the plus arrow. You notice now it says page 1, page 2, page 3 at the bottom. You can actually right-click on the pages. I can call page 3 my controls page. I can call page 2 my sample page. So just like Excel, you can rename the tabs to be called whatever you like, and you can have as many pages as you like and put as many different plots as you like. And in fact, you can even view multiple pages at the same time. So you see that right now I'm viewing page 1 and the sample page at the same time, and I can even drag things. So I'll drag this histogram from page 1 to the sample page, and it goes there and stays there. Okay, so just some little things. Again, everything works in a very modern Microsoft Office style environment, and you work with it as you would expect to work in Microsoft PowerPoint. Okay, once things are on a page, you can do things that you would expect, like select them both at the same time. So now they're both selected. You can move them if you like, and they'll move together. You can resize them. For example, you can change parameters on one of them. And then if there's anything that you did that you don't like to do, that you didn't want to do, you can always go back and undo. The undo button is located in the exact same place it is in Microsoft PowerPoint, up there in the top left corner, or Control Z. you can go back and undo your changes all the way back to the beginning of your analysis. Okay? So again, that undo applies whether you change gates, whether you change plots, whether you change quads, markers, anything that you do in the software can be undone. Okay? So I'm going to pause right now and just see if there are any questions. If anybody has any questions about anything I said for myself or for Danny, I'll unmute Danny right now in case he has any questions he can ask. Please feel free. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and continue on to some other things. Okay? All right, it doesn't look like there are any questions for the moment, so I'll continue onwards. So the next thing I did want to show is not only are we a data analysis software, which I will focus on some of the analysis things in a moment, but also as a presentation software, I just wanted to make you aware of some of the many options that you have for presenting your data. So if you go to any plot and you right-click, you're going to get a menu of all of the options that are available for that particular object. And the first one is always format. And on the formatting screen, you can format many, many things about how the object looks. For example, if you felt that your dot plots would look much better with yellow to red, left to right gradients, you can certainly set that up. And if you'd like to change your titles to be larger because you're giving a presentation and you want people to be able to see, you can certainly change it to 16 point and green, for example, and then the titles would change to 16 point and green. You can change the fonts on the axes, the fonts on the labels, the size of the dots, the colors of the dots, the size of the border. You noticed here you can even change the background shading color of the title, and you can even change the color of the borders. So we really have a lot of options for you formatting almost every single thing that you can see about the plots. Once you have these plots formatted the way that you like them, what you can do, you can get them out very, very easily. One of the very nice features we had is a very, very easy export to PowerPoint, for example. So what you can do is in other software, if you want to save the analysis to PowerPoint, you basically have to select an object, go to copy the plot to the clipboard, then paste it into PowerPoint. In PowerPoint, it'll appear in some random location, and then you resize it, etc., etc. In FCS Express, the only thing you actually have to do is go to the application button and say save your layout as a PowerPoint presentation. You can also save it directly as a PDF file as well. When you save it as a PowerPoint presentation, you just give it a file name, let's say on the desktop, and I'll call this Partec. And I'm going to choose to open the presentation when I'm done. And you can see it actually opened up the real PowerPoint that I have here. Should have come up to you in should come up in just a moment for you. And the software that was exported to PowerPoint looks exactly like the analysis that was exported to FCS Express or from FCS Express. You can see that all the dots, the colors all stay the same, the dots stay the same, everything looks exactly the same. Okay, so you can see that it's come up here, and you can see even that if I zoom the resolution quite high, you can see that the fonts and everything like that come up in very, very high resolution and are sent out in good quality. Okay, and again, those are some of the little details that we take care of to make sure that you have very, very good reporting capabilities from FCS Express. Of course, you can also save images of individual plots. If you go to Save Layout As, you can export the current page as a picture or the currently selected objects as a picture, and then when you export them, you get to choose what resolution and what size and what image type. We support exporting as about 20 different image types. Okay? So again, it's very, very easy to get out your reports and your images of your plots when you're done. Okay, so on to a little bit about data analysis. Let me go and change this plot back so it doesn't look quite so ugly. And I'll change it back to have a white background and the title, well, I'll leave the title alone, that's fine. So what we'll do is show a little bit about gating. Gating in FCS Express is very, very straightforward. You go up to the top to the gating tab over here, okay? And you can draw your gates on your plots the way that you would expect to. So for instance, if I want to make a polygon gate, I can make a polygon gate here. And I can call this my first population. You can call the gates anything that you like. And I can make a second gate over here. And I'll call this whatever, granulocytes. And so you can go make gates wherever you like. Now it's very easy to apply gates to already existing plots. One way to do it is to select the plot you want to apply the gate to, and I've just selected the histogram here by clicking on it. And then what you can do is go up to our gating drop down here that's on the gating tab, and you can see that no gate is currently applied. So I could just drop down and select the granulocytes gate, and you notice here now that the plot is updating with the granulocytes gate. Okay, and I can go here and change it to the my first population, and then the plot is updating with the my first population gate. So going to the drop-down list at the top left of the gate view is very useful. It's actually also very useful because it allows you to change gates on multiple plots at the same time. So if you select two plots at the same time, like I've done here, you notice that the current gate is blank. Well, the reason it's blank is because this plot over here and this plot over here are both gated differently. So since they're gated differently, there's nothing to show in the drop-down list. But if I were to gate them the same by either taking the gate off or now by gating them on the granulocytes, now you see that both plots are gated and are updating in real time on the granulocytes gate. Okay, another way to apply a gate to a plot, I'm just going to go and ungate these by selecting them and applying no gate. You can actually drag and drop a gate directly onto a plot. So you can drop this gate right onto the plot here, and you now see that the gate is now gated on the my first population gate, which I just dragged onto the plot. And I'm going to drag the granulocytes gate onto the bottom plot, and that goes here, and you can see that the granulocytes gate is dragged onto the bottom plot. Okay, so again, another easy way to drag gates. The other nice thing that is often done is, for example, you would often what you can do is you can also, if you draw your first gate, you can actually drag the gate onto an empty part of the page. And when you drag the gate onto an empty part of the page, you see that it duplicates the plot that you dragged it from, but it gated it on that gate. And then you can go here and just change it, and you see the plot is gated on the gate. Okay? One other very useful tool I'll show you is the gate view. The gate view is available from the main menu over here. And if you insert a gate view on the page, it actually shows you all of the gates that you have defined. And you can, if it's on the page the way that it is right now, it will print out in that location. But if you just want to use it kind of for yourself as a table of contents, you can actually just put it off the page. And just like in PowerPoint, things that are off the page won't appear when you print or report them. And you can do things on here like change the name of the gate by just right-clicking on the gate and selecting rename. And I could change it from my first gate to lymphocytes, and let's put them where the lymphocytes are. And I want you to notice that the gate over here actually changed automatically to say lymphocytes. Okay, so when you change the name of the gates, the text boxes with the gates in them update, and you can also drag and drop from the gate view to the lymphocytes, or I could drag to the granulocytes, and you can see that it changed. We have a couple questions. How do I apply two different gates to one plot? I think probably what that means is to join the gates together, and I'll show that right now. That's a really good question. So let's say you have several different gates and you want to combine gates. It's nice to do one gate at a time, but in flow cytometry you have to combine them often. Well, the easiest way to combine gates is to make a gating hierarchy. So let me show here as an illustration if I've overlapped these two gates. Well, right now if I gate this plot on lymphocytes, you can see that I'm seeing everything in the lymphocytes gate. However, if I drag the lymphocytes gate in my gate view underneath the granulocytes gate, then you see that in my lymphocytes plot on the top, only the cells that are in both the lymphocytes and in the granulocytes are appearing. Okay, and as I move the gate around, you see that that still is the case. Only cells that are in both of the gates are being considered in the lymphocytes gate. That is because the lymphocyte is a child over here of the granulocytes gate. Okay, and you can see that it's a child because it's indented underneath. You see that if I move the lymphocytes gate out of the granulocytes gate, then you can see that the lymphocytes gate filled up with cells. Okay, so probably this is equivalent to doing an AND condition in standard flow cytometry gating. And since the AND condition is very, very common, it's often all you need to do. You don't need to type in any formulas or anything. You just arrange your gates in a gating hierarchy that's appropriate. Now, if you wanted to make a gating hierarchy, you certainly could do that. Or, sorry, if you wanted to make a formula, you could. You right-click on the plot and go to Add Combination Gate. And a combination gate is a new gate that you are saying is a combination of two existing gates. So if I call this my first combo gate, and the formula is lymphocytes and granulocytes, okay, and you notice that, well, you probably didn't notice, but I only typed in the first letter. I only typed in the G for granulocytes, and it filled in the rest. And then you can hit the space bar to complete the word for you. Okay, so making a combo gate of lymphocytes and granulocytes is exactly the same as dragging the lymphocytes under the granulocytes. And you can see that because when I drag the combo gate onto the plot, only the cells that are in both lymphocytes and granulocytes appear. Okay? Now you can use the gate formula to do a lot of other things though, more complicated. You can, for example, say lymphocytes or granulocytes, and I just changed the formula there. And now you can see that the cells that are in the lymphocytes or in the granulocytes are on that plot. And then you can do things like putting not lymphocytes or granulocytes, and then you get everything except what's in the lymphocytes or the granulocytes. So the combination gates give you really a lot of flexibility. You can type in any kind of formulas that you like. Okay. Another couple of things you can do with gates that I'll just show quickly is if you have quadrants on your plots. So let's go here and let's put this on the lymphocytes. Whoops. And then let's gate this plot on the lymphocytes. So if I have some quadrants on my plot, I can actually right-click on the plot and convert the quadrants to gates. And you can see that I've selected that from the menu. And you can convert the upper left, the upper right, the lower left, lower right, as well as the whole upper half, lower half, left half, and right half can be converted into a gate. And so if I convert the upper left to a gate, I can either convert it, which will just make the gate, and the gate will forget that it ever came from a quadrant, or I can convert and link it, in which case the gate will remember that it came from the quadrant. Okay, so this will be called my quadrant gate. And you can see that if we apply the quad gate to the histogram, it's now only showing the cells that are in the upper left, okay? And it actually maintains that even if you switch to our floating quadrants, which you can by going to the format screen and going to the quad section of the format screen. And the floating quadrants are very nice because you can actually make your quads on angles, and the gates will remember the shape of the way the actual quads are defined. Okay, so you can gate on quadrants, and of course over here in the gate view you can drag the quads above or below. They can be children or parents of any other gate that you've created. In addition, you can also create gates on markers much in the same way. So if I wanted to, if I drew a marker on a plot, I could convert the marker to a gate and then link it, and that would work in the same way you would be able to gate on your on the markers. Okay, so that's the end of gating. There are many more things you can do with gates. Those are just the basics of them. But I just want to pause quickly and see if anybody has any questions about gating that they would like me to address. And someone asked how we can see the name of a gate. How we can see the name that I think that is currently applied to a particular plot, or the gate that is currently applied to a plot. And that's actually, there's several ways to do it. Probably the one I like the most is to actually have the gate name appear in the title of the plot. So if you simply right-click on the plot and go to Format, and you go to the title, currently you can see here the title is showing a special keyword that makes the current file name appear. So if you want to see the current file name, you can also type in your own text, current gate, and then I can insert by dropping down from the insert keyword the current gate. And then you see here now on the title of the plot, it says that there's no gate currently applied. But if I were to go and drop the lymphocytes gate onto the plot, you see that it updates right away to say that the lymphocytes gate is currently applied. There are other ways to have the name of the gate be outside the text, outside the plot, and in many different places, but I think that that one is the most commonly used. One thing I do want to stress is that everything that you do here can be saved. You just simply save your analysis, and everything that's in your analysis, just go to Save Layout. Everything that's in your analysis, including the quads, the gates, the plots, the markers, everything is saved as a template, as it were, and then in the future you can simply load up the template and change the data files. Okay? In order to see which quad, you can go through and see which quad is the basis for your quad gate. For example, if you double click on it, it tells you that it is linked to plot number 4, the dot plot, the upper left quad. Okay? So you can totally see by double clicking on the gate which plot the gate is linked to. Okay? That was for a question from the audience. Okay, now, and the same for markers as well. If you made a marker gate, you would be able to see which marker it was linked to. And also on the plot itself, if you go to Format to the quad section, you can see here a whole list in the linking options which sections of the quads are linked to which particular gates at the moment. Okay, so you can certainly do that. All right. So in terms of once you have your gates defined, I did want to show a little bit how to change data files. You can change data files by going to the Data tab. Some of the easiest ways to do it are simply to change data on all the objects or change the data on the selected objects. So because nothing is selected right now, nothing appears available on this particular section, but in the change data on all objects, you see that you can very easily go next. Next and previous on the data. Okay, and you can see that it's playing through the data. The order that it plays through is the order in your data list. So if you click here on the data list, you can see the files that you have currently in your data list. So these are all the current files that I have. And so next and previous goes in the order of the files in the data list. If you want to, you can turn off the path so that you just see the file names. And you can then rearrange files in this file list, add files from different folders so they don't have to be in the same folder. You can add files from different days that are saved in different folders and then just play through them by going next and previous. You can also right-click on any plot and go to Change File over here, and it will give you a choice to change the file. You can also drag and drop files from Windows Explorer. There's many, many different ways to change the data. Okay. Once you have your gates defined, very often you'd like to see your gate statistics. You can do that by simply right-clicking on a plot and go to Gate Statistics that appears from the menu. And on a plot, if there are quadrants showing, you can also see the quadrant statistics. And the Gate Statistics opens up a statistics window just like any other software. You can right-click on the statistics window and choose which statistics you want to be able to see. You can do things like rearranging the columns, and you can hide columns and change the fonts and all of that kind of stuff. And of course, wherever you put the statistics window, that's where it will appear on the page when you print it or make a PDF or some sort of report. Okay, so that's very similar to most software that you can have a statistics window per plot, but FCS Express has a very unique capabilities that allow you to actually build your own statistics windows by combining statistics together from many different plots. So let me show you how you do that. It's a very, very great feature, because the problem with having one statistics window per plot is that when you have many plots, you end up having many statistics windows. And then when you're trying to figure out what you're doing, you're flipping back and forth between different statistics windows, trying to compare a statistic from one plot to a statistic from another, and it's often very confusing to remember which statistic is supposed to be compared to what, and nothing is all in the same place. But in FCS Express, you can actually alleviate that problem, and you do that by using our text boxes. Okay, so you can see here that this is our text box. At heart, this is a very basic word processor. Okay, you can type things in. You can select text. You can go to our text category here at the top, and you can make the text, large fonts. You can change the font color to red. We, in fact, have pretty much full font formatting capabilities with bold and underline and italics and superscripting and subscripting and everything that you would kind of expect from a word processor. We have full paragraph formatting with indentation and justification and all that kind of stuff. And we also have bullets and numbering, where you can make bulleted lists and you can make numbered lists. You can see here. So you can get these bulleted lists and these numbered lists together, and you can put in all sorts of lists inside your text boxes. And in addition, you can actually insert tables. So if you right-click and go to Table, Insert Table, you can see that you can insert a table into the text box. Once the table is inserted into the text box, you can do whatever you're used to doing from Microsoft Word. So you can go to Table, insert columns to the right, and I can make a third column. I can resize them. I can have different justifications in the different cells of the columns. So I can have it left, center, and right justified. You can merge cells together, change the border colors, etc., etc. All of the things that you're used to doing from a standard word processor. Okay, now where though this gets really, really useful is instead of just typing basic text into the text box, you can actually drag statistics into the text box, and the text box will then update in whatever way you, how you change the statistic. So an example of this is here. I can put in, there are cells in my gate, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the lymphocytes gate, click on it, and actually drag the lymphocytes gate into my text box and select the number of events statistic. Okay? And what I can do then is you see that there's 21,191 cells, but if I move my gate around, you see that my statistic updates in real time. Okay, so I can move my stats around and it updates. And you can put in as many statistics as you like. You can actually drag them into a table cell. So I'm going to drag the granulocytes gate and put in the X geometric mean into my table cell. You can see right now it's 547, and as I move my gate, it's now 214. So you can totally build up your own statistics windows from as many different plots as you like. So you can see, as an example, on the second page, or the third, if on a different page of the analysis, I'm going to insert a histogram, and on this histogram, I'm going to insert a marker. Then what I can do is I can actually drag this marker into the text box on the first page and put in the number of events there. And if this marker is now gated on my lymphocytes gate, you can see now that even though I'm only showing one page, as I move my lymphocytes gate, the marker statistic, and I'll put here, the marker statistic is updating because the number of events in the marker is updating as I move my gates. Okay, so this is a really, really powerful feature because you can actually build your own statistics windows where you gather together information from your entire analysis protocol in a nice table or a nice text box in a way where you can have one column with the controls or one column with the samples, or comparing directly to each other, or summarize multiple tubes together in one nice table so you can actually see the results of what you get. Okay? So that's the basic analysis. We have a lot of other features like batch processing and things that we have separate webinars that you can watch, and that will show you a lot about some of the different features. To get to the different webinars we have, if you go to our website, to our main website, and then just scroll down to the middle of the home page, you see that we have these recorded webinars. Okay? And if you go to the recorded webinars page, okay, you can see that we have a ton of different webinars. Many of them involve special applications of FCS Express, like batch processing and many different things. So like, for instance, here, there's ones on compensation, ones on proliferation, what's new, our security system, many, many different features in the software. So I encourage you to watch the webinars. They'll give you an overview of a lot of the different things that you can do that are in addition to what I showed today. Today was a very, very basic feature, and maybe what we can do is if there are topics that you would like us to cover, why don't you send myself or Danny an email, certainly, and we can arrange another webinar for Partec users, maybe focusing on different topics. One thing I do want to stress, if when during using the software you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to email us at support@denovosoftware.com. we are very, very happy to help and to answer any questions that you have. Okay, so I'm going to unmute Danny now, and if anybody has any particular questions, please don't hesitate to ask.